With a name like Hardcore Mecha, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a bit of a try-hard, generic game with a generic name. But oh no, Hardcore Mecha is pretty badass, and let me tell you why. Hardcore Mecha has a pretty strong focus on its narrative. You'll get this feeling straight away from the effort gone into the cutscenes. The story begins as your mercenary crew are hired by the Space UN to retrieve a captive officer from well-armed rebels on Mars. It's a story taken straight out of your favorite mech anime of choice. Nothing original, but there are some nice characters that I wish I could have seen more of. There's plenty of dialogue and lots of cutscenes that are badass and will make you feel like you're taking part in an awesome anime. So mission accomplished there. It does what it sets out to do, and hopefully a sequel can expand on some of the side characters a bit more. I really wanted to know more about them. The gameplay is simple looking on paper. It looks like your standard side-scrolling action game, and for the most part it is, but Hardcore Mecha excels in making you feel like a badass mech, nailing the feel and the badassery of what it would be like. The game takes place in linear levels as you mow down scores of bad guys, either troops, blood and flesh, mechs or turrets. You have a variety of moves in your arsenal, a big mech machine gun, which is the one you'll be using the most, and you can pick up extra ones of these along the way and can switch between them. I didn't feel a whole lot of difference between these, which was a shame. Whenever I saw an enemy drop one, there was no rush of excitement for me to pick it up, unless it was a big massive cannon or flamethrower late in the game. They just ran out too quickly for my liking. You also have a chest cannon, which is slightly weaker but has more ammo. This is mapped to the L shoulder button, so it can be quite conveniently fired at the same time as your rifle, allowing you double the firepower at once. Aiming is done with the same stick as movement, so it can be a little bit tricky, but holding ZR stands you in place so you can aim more accurately. It takes a while to get used to, but once you do, you feel totally in control and awesome. You have a melee attack, or more like a thrust attack, where you lunge your chunky metal arse into an enemy. This is most useful against fellow mechs as it will damage them quite severely, but it is risky as you leave yourself vulnerable. As cool and badass as your mech seems, it still has its limitations and delay between actions is noticeable. I was going to say more realistic, but then we're talking about giant mechs fighting on Mars, so yeah. You're not exactly a ninja when it comes to moves, so you're likely to take a fair amount of damage, especially on standard difficulty. You will need to be repairing yourself regularly, either using kits or stations. There is an easy difficulty which really does live up to its name. When one of the early bosses can be defeated straight from the off by holding down the fire button and standing still, you know you're in for an easy ride. I highly recommend the standard setting. You'll feel a lot more accomplished here. It's never overly difficult, but it can test your skills, reactions, and ramps up the tension, especially when a horde of enemies come for a rumble. I'd say leave easy mode for a second playthrough, as then you can just be carefree and it just makes you feel like a proper hero. I did that on my Switch playthrough as I'd already completed it on the PS4. And yeah, I should point out that I have played and completed this game on the PlayStation 4, which released a while before this brand new Switch release. I've been playing it over the past couple of weeks, so there's a good chunk of PS4 footage interspersed here with the Switch version, which I also completed for this review. Yes, I completed the game twice. That's how dedicated I am. Anyways, tangents aside, your mech is a good old chunkster. Pretty slow when walking. In fact, the game is instantly frustrating in the mini tutorial as it makes you walk so slowly to learn the controls. But fear not, the game has an awesome feeling boost system that can charge you forward, dodge away, or even blast around in the air, weaving around enemies, and this feels exceptionally great, especially when enemy bosses are doing their multiple attacks on you. There's plenty of customization here. You'll be constantly upgrading your mech over the chapters using the money you earn from destroying enemies, completing the levels, and taking part in side quests, of which each level will have like 1 or 2. I appreciated their variety in terms of what you have to do and their difficulty. Some are pretty straightforward, like destroy all the enemies in one section, to some slightly more difficult, like not getting spotted by turrets or guards as you infiltrate a base. Oh, and by the way, yes, you can jump out of your mech. Sadly, this is only done at set points, and I don't think it's utilized enough, but it was always fun getting boots on the ground and being vulnerable. Only a pokey little pistol and a knife to keep you company, no fancy equipment or boosting acrobatics. These sections were a great palate cleanser, and I wish there were more sections dedicated to this. In fact, I wish the campaign was longer as a whole. I had so much fun over the 20 or so levels, coming in at 5 hours. I could have easily settled for double that. But it is compact, and the story is succinct, and it makes you feel like it could be, a short story arc or a real anime series or movie. And I'm kind of shocked that it isn't a real anime, since it is fantastic, and I'd love a show based on this universe. It's not unique, but it's still a lot of fun and well realized. In addition, there's also a couple of horizontal shmup sections, which, although turn out rather bland, do add to the variety. But there are issues with this, which I'll get to in the performance section. Outside the campaign, there is online multiplayer, which I could not test out for this review due to, not being switched on yet. And when you complete the story mode, you will unlock a survival mode, which will take up a ton of your time and will allow you to pilot and upgrade other mechs. Sadly, even after completing the game for a second time on the Switch, the simulation mode, as it's known, did not appear. I guess it's because it will be patched in later, or perhaps for release date, I don't know. I noticed the Switch version is behind the Steam one, especially the one that introduced this mode. I'm reviewing 1.0, and the patch that introduced the mode was later than that. So I'm hoping that's ready in time for release. I don't know. I contacted the publisher to ask what was going on, but I did not get a reply in time for the review. So we'll have to see on that. And if anything updates, between now and the review going out, I will put it in the description. For an indie game, I was incredibly impressed by the animations here. The attention to detail put into cutscenes is only just lower than what you'd find in Super Robot Wars, and that's no mean feat. Everything looks over the top and epic, and the developers have really done their research into what makes a badass mech anime. I think the game is very visually appealing with plenty of variety in environments. I suspect some may take umbrage with the kind of chibi likeness to some of the character designs during gameplay and the stumpy nature to some of the mechs, but I can look past that. SD Gundam Cross Rays also had that issue, but it didn't bother me one bit. Overall, I think it's a very good looking game for the budget they probably had. In handheld mode, I think some may have a problem with the text. The dialogue is fine, but the smaller size ones, such as mission objectives, can be really quite small. Not an issue for me personally, as my eyes are surprisingly perfect, but I know many will struggle, and I didn't see what they look like on the Switch Lite. The text doesn't appear so often, so it's not a major issue. I just suspect the devs didn't really think about how to transfer it from a 4K TV on PS4 to a Switch Lite screen. Performance, well, it does have its issues, especially later in the game, and for me, the performance was the biggest downer of the whole game. The shooter sections are really quite messy, and the last couple of chapters during normal gameplay can chug more often than they really should. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it is really disappointing to have these issues, along with crashes. I experienced 3 crashes during my full playthrough, all of which occurred almost at the very end of a level, and one of them right at the end of the final level after defeating the final boss. What an anticlimax. I probably lost an hour's worth of progress in total thanks to the crashes, which it disappointed me highly. Patches are planned, I know this, but I'm not entirely sure when. I'm hoping the patch will be ready for launch to solve these issues, but I don't know for sure. Like I said, not the end of the world, and knowing a patch is coming makes me feel a little better about that. It's just disappointing. I just wish it could have been the smooth experience that it deserves. The PlayStation Pro version that I played runs a lot smoother than the Switch one. The audio is impressive, the sound design is absolutely top notch, from the music, the sound effects and voice acting. There's a lot of attention to detail which makes it feel, like a full mech experience. The guitar solos are on point, emphasizing the over-the-top nature of the action. Really gets you pumped up. There is voice acting too, which is available in both Japanese and Chinese, and I thought it was very well done. Very professional, top job. In terms of value, on the eShop, Hardcore Mecha is priced at £17.99 in the UK, $24.99 in the US, so the UK is getting a slightly better deal there. I think that's a fair price and pretty much what I expected. It's slightly in the upper echelons of indies, but the production value and effort is right up there. 5-hour-long campaign plus many more if online gels with you, and the Horde mode, which I'm sure I would have enjoyed if I could have played it. I think that's decent value for the quality on offer. Now, we know that this is available physically via Red Art Games in Europe. There's no word on a North American physical release. Red Art Games version is up for pre-order on the 15th, but won't be sent out until 2021, sometime before March they're planning. But Asia and Japan have this available physically now with English. If you want to wait for Red Art Games, don't forget that we have a 10% discount code for their website, redartgames.com. It's not an affiliate or anything. We don't earn anything, just a nice bonus for you guys. So when you're checking out, use the code SWATCH10, SwitchWatch 10 when checking out, and you get 10% off your order of anything from their site. And Red Arc Games did say that their cartridge will have all the latest upgrades and patches on their release. If you don't want to wait and you want it right now, you're impatient like me, then check the link below in the description and pinned comment. We've got links below as to where you can import the Japanese or Asian version to play now. They have English and are releasing this week. Yes, you can get this physically within the next few weeks depending on delivery time. These are affiliate links, so any purchase that you make also helps support us massively. We genuinely very much appreciate you guys and your support using our links. Plus, as a bonus, if you use those links, you can get a very nice 5% off the order if you use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV while checking out. That's all one word, SwitchWatchTV. You get 5% off your order. And that's 5% off any physical item from PlayAsia. Alright, overall, I think Hardcore Mecha is a must-have title for anyone even vaguely interested in mechs. You get plenty of content. Sure, the single player could be a little bit longer, but with simulation and online modes, you've got yourself a MECH-TASTIC time. If you wanted Super Robot Wars, but with more hands-on gameplay, this is what you want. I'm probably not going to claim this to be one of my top games of the year, mainly down to the performance issues I encountered that did disappoint what could have been a brilliant experience. Hopefully a patch is on the way. Still, a 7.5 out of 10. With the issues, if a patch comes along and fixes it, bump that up to an 8 or, maybe an 8.5 if I'm being generous. Alright, many thanks to our executive producers Dane Wilkinson, Gannicus, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumor, and God of Resin. Thank you for your support, along with all our other YouTube members. Plus, you watching right now. Thank you. If you watched all the way here, you are a legend. The longer you watch, the more it helps us out. And of course, if you use our PlayAsia links, that also helps us out massively too. If you enjoyed this review, then perhaps check out some of our other reviews of MECH-TASTIC games out there, including Super Robot Wars and SD Gundam, G Generation Cross Rays. I adore them all. See you over there. Take care.